Folks, welcome into the Crowd Assist podcast presented by Trainwreck Sports. Wake here with your friend Jake. No Meerkat tonight. He is busy with some work stuff, and I have never seen this kid more excited about like anything in my entire life. Like no one grinds like Meerkat. Like I think I can speak for Micah and everyone at Trainwreck and a lot of people in Bill's Twitter. Like the kid is just, and I say kid loosely, obviously, but the dude is just a content machine, one of the most passionate dudes out there, and he's having a blast with work tonight. So yeah, we're spreading positivity, just like Jake Micah's shirt said, and mine says, "Let's get fucked up and die." So the duality of man at its very finest here.
I like that one too, though. I like that one too. You gotta have your moments.
Yeah, you do. I don't know if you remember Motion City soundtrack from the 2000s, but I saw them a couple nights ago. Got this shirt.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was a fantastic show. I mean, like I went with people that I had never met before, and sometimes the best concerts.
Wait, what? What do you mean you never met these people before?
Okay, so I was at a show. I saw the Main at the Town Ballroom, this venue downtown. Back in April or so. And this person who I follow on Twitter, and we've been like tweeting at each other for a while.
I'm already so happy about this.
I was in the mosh pit, and she was right behind me, and she tapped me on the shoulder to lift me up to have her crowd surf. And I was like, "Wait, Betty?" And she was like, "Yeah, who the fuck are you?" And I was like, "It's Wake." And it took her like 5 seconds. She's like, "Oh, well, I'm drunk and I want to crowd surf. So can we do this later?" And I was like, "Yeah, totally." So I threw her up, and then and that was that. It's a blossoming friendship. That's awesome. And I met some other Twitter mutuals too. Salami Capicola on Twitter. Kristen, I have no idea how to pronounce her last name.
Salami Capicola.
Yeah, it is.
I will say I'm very jealous of people that just got their Twitter names right and just have had it for a while. You've got a great Wake Jackins, great name.
Very simple.
Very simple, very nice. Because I've tried to just have at Jake Micah for such a long time. And if you go look for at Jake Micah, the man hasn't tweeted since 2012. He's not an inactive account. I've reported him an ungodly amount of times because I've tried to change it so many times. Like I try every once in a while just to do it to see if their Twitter finally does what they're supposed to do and kicks off the inactive accounts, and it's never worked. And so if you go see him, he's in a picture. He's in a Little League baseball picture. Like this kid had to be like 12 years old when he was doing this. So whoever that Jake Micah is, bro, just delete your Twitter account.
Just delete your Twitter. I lost my Instagram for a while. Someone posted porn on my Facebook account, and so my Twitter, my Facebook, and my Instagram got deactivated. It wasn't good. A lot of weird stuff, and one was animated, and so I was worrying. I was trying to think, like, okay, if I'm gonna make a new Instagram, what's my handle gonna be? Like, what the hell? I'm gonna be like Silly Boy Wake. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Thank God I kept Wake Jodkins.
That's good. That's a good choice. I have at Jake Micah on Instagram. Like I'm cool on Instagram. Like it's just perfect, exactly what I want. Twitter, but the thing is, Twitter. Like I've had Twitter since like 2009. Like I very early got on Twitter and ruined my brain before high school. So, but my dad had a thing when the internet was still like in the 2000s where we wouldn't use our last name if we were making accounts. Like his email is still Team Magic instead of Micah because he was just like, don't want to put your name on the internet type thing. Now, now
Bruce Nolan style,
exactly. But now everybody knows like everything about you from data leaks and everything else. So I've just tried to get so I eventually transitioned, tried to use my actual name. Yeah, hasn't worked out yet.
And speaking of mentally transitioning, I had something else I wanted to start the show off with, but we're already 5 minutes in talking about this. So, I'll start off next time talking about how you should never get too mad at an adult kickball league. But for now, we are going into the Bills' NFC North opponents. How this is going to go is Micah is going to walk us through kind of what's happened in the offseason, the free agent acquisitions, important draft picks, losses, all things of that nature. Then we're going to talk about what it's actually going to look like when the Bills face the Vikings, Bears, Packers, and Lions in no particular order. So, Micah, you're leading these all off. So why don't you just take your pick? Maybe the most exciting, maybe the most boring. Who do you want to start with here?
All right. Well, last time I just did it in alphabetical order in the most boring way. So we are going to start with my current town, as I am a hometown Buffalo resident, but my current town, Chicago Bears. Big time. one of my favorite things about living in Chicago has been the Uber drives that I take various times for whatever reasons, and asking the Uber driver if they start talking about sports, how they felt about Matt Nagy. I did this in another environment for the first time. I've been trying to find, how trying to find a barber, like you got to try to find a good barber or whatever. I think I finally found my guy the other day. So this is a good news. But so we started talking about the Bears a little bit. And I said, so how do you feel about, Matt Nagy? He's like, bro, we don't say the N-word in here. And by that, he meant Nagy. And that's what I really learned, how the real Chicagoans feel.
I mean, I agree, but goddamn.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. I will say. But so that alone is my optimism for the Chicago Bears coming into this year. Now, they did add people in the draft, obviously. Didn't have a first-round pick, but picked Kyler Gordon, who was a very popular Bills mock drafted player there. They got him in the second round. They got Jaquan Brisker, who I am a Penn State sympathizer, I will say. You'll find out as we learn on this podcast. So Jaquan Brisker is an incredible player. Oh, really? Wait, we're gonna have to talk.
Yeah, no, my dad's from Pennsylvania. I was born a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Pirates fan.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so Penn State. It's always been. So
not Pitt. You picked this. He picked a side. Did he go to Penn State? Did he have somebody that went to Penn State?
I genuinely have no idea. I believe my grandfather went there, but
There you go. That's all you need. That's it.
Harold, if you're watching, please correct me if I am wrong. I don't wanna bash bigger Harold.
When my dad was in school at Dunkirk High School, they had a couple graduates while he was in school go to Penn State for football. So I feel like there's not, Buffalo doesn't have a real college football team, and State College is only 3.5 hours away. Like it's not like it's a long distance away from there. Anyways, so Jaquan Brisker, he's a stud, and I'm a fan of him. Velus Jones is like 26 years old, but I still think he's going to be effective for him this year. Then they added a bunch of line depth in the draft, which is very necessary. You want to protect.
Very necessary, especially with a young quarterback like Justin Fields. Like
they added in illustrious former Bill Nathan Peterman and Trevor Siemian to back up Justin Fields. So hopefully Justin Fields stay healthy. The big story is,
for
I guess, for football's sake, for sure. They added a bunch of depth on the defense. This defense has been, the defense isn't the problem, really. They have a lot of talent on the defense side of the ball. The real interesting thing is the wide receivers they added. Byron Pringle, obviously we talked about Velus Jones in the draft. Equimani St. Brown, Dante Pettis. It's not guys that jump off the page to you, but and they're not even as good as the guys that I'm going to mention here, but it kind of feels a little bit like when the Bills added John Brown and Cole Beasley, where it was like, doesn't it feel like that? Like it's mid-level guys that fit with what Justin Fields is good at, which is going to be freelancing and making plays with his feet and being able to scramble, but also short, quick, accurate route. Like he has a great deep ball accuracy, but he has a lot of the intermediate stuff is where he's missing. Where have we heard that before? That's where he misses a lot. He has bad footwork. He those are the things he's needed to work on. But these guys like a St. Brown and a Pringle are guys that are going to be able to get yak yards for them and really help him underneath. And they still have a great running back in David Montgomery too.
Yeah. For me, like this team, in my opinion, they're probably going to be the worst team in the division this year. And it's not because of Justin Fields. Right. It's like they're kind of like the Bills, like literally rookie year Josh Allen, where it's like decent defense can get you where you need to be if the other side of the ball is right. The other side of the ball is probably not going to be very right, though. Like I think Tevin Jenkins at left tackle, he's going to be there for a long time. Like he's going to be a lockdown left tackle for this team for quite a long while. I think that if they are going to kind of maybe overachieve whatsoever and maybe get third in this division, I'm going to need to see a lot of 2 running back sets out of them. Like David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, if you're not giving Khalil Herbert like 35% of the snaps, like you're kind of wasting that.
Oh, yeah.
Like sure. They are two. It's almost honestly like Devin Singletary and James Cook. They're very similar as a 1-2 punch kind of deal.
I agree.
But it's extremely underwhelming overall when you look at that offense. Like if we are going to rank these, and maybe we'll do this as we go through. We'll say out of 1 to 4, is this like where do you feel confident in the Bills winning this game? This is probably the game I feel most confident about the Bills taking home from the NFC North.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. And that game specifically, Christmas Eve in Chicago, it's going to probably be snowy and gross here. It's going to be an awesome game to watch on television. Probably won't be as fun to be at. But it'll be a great experience to watch. And I think this team is I think this division, the lower half is not, I think the Green Bay could potentially be the only team that makes the playoffs. But I feel like the worst team is going to be like 6-11 or 7-10. Like I feel like their floor is going to be raised this year because the Bears, who were 6-11 last year, and Detroit, who was 3-14 last year, are both. I think Chicago could stay in that range and maybe be 7-10 or maybe be 5-12, depending. You can pull up their schedule here too, whatever. But the Lions, when we get into them, are definitely going to improve. So I think this division is always competitive with each other too.
Yes,
they do sneak games on each other a lot of times.
Yeah, they're very similar to the NFC West in that. Like, no matter what the state of the division, like it seems like the games are always played pretty tightly. Probably some of the best interdivision rivalries in sports because they are, for largely, with the exception of the Lions, but at least the Lions do have a historic past. But like, there are these are teams that all have like actual pride in being, a juggernaut at one point in this division. And they're all trying to kind of get back there, except for Green Bay. And I have a lot of concerns about Green Bay. I don't even think it's a lot in this division, to be completely honest with you. But we can get into that a little bit later. This team is literally going to ride and die with how Justin Fields can work with the ghosts of fourth wide receivers past with Byron Pringle, Tajay Sharp, Equanimous St. Brown, Dante Pettis. Like, it's very David Moore. Oh my Jesus Christ, that's ugly. It's gonna be ugly. I saw, Megabyte Ronnie's been running the Trainwreck Fantasy Sports account.
Shout out Megabyte.
Shout out Megabyte. I love the dude. One of the most
NCW champion.
Hell yeah, he is. and he put out a question like, if Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet both finished like top 10 in their positions in fantasy, what would that look like for Justin Fields? And I don't think that that's possible whatsoever. No. But there's like a 3% chance that maybe that happens where Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet are both good. But we've been waiting on Cole Kmet to break out for what seems like, I feel like he's older than Eric Ebron, and he's like 24. Like,
but I do think there is something to the fact that their offense, like the continuity, maybe not the continuity, but the scheme, can't be worse than it was last year for Justin Fields. They didn't do anything to help him.
It cannot. No,
it doesn't feel like
Nagy. It could be, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't be.
That's what just encourages me about Kmet in general. Like, the receivers are one thing, but as the safety valve, like, that's why when you brought up Khalil Herbert, that was like a name that I think is huge in fantasy this year. I think they're going to they should be like 60-40, and Khalil Herbert's a great receiving back and everything. He
reminds me so much of James White. He has so much James White in him.
He really does. And Montgomery's a monster, man. Like,
he's good.
David Montgomery is one of the top backs in this league, like in the top half of backs in this league at this point. He's had injury troubles. That's hurt him more than anything. But they've also, like we said, they also worked on this offensive line because Fields was running for his life all last year.
Yeah, he was in a scheme that did not match a quarterback who needed to run for his life. So now hopefully he'll be able to run for his life, but also have receivers that are getting open in the right spots. We'll see. Like I said, I think they're probably a lock to be the last team in this division. And so maybe we'll go up from there. Who do you have third in this division? Would it be the Vikings or would it be the Lions?
It's the Lions still for me.
It's the Lions?
And that's hard. That's still hard for me. It's like, when we get to talk about, let's go into the Lions here. When we talk about the Vikings late at the last there, I am the biggest Kirk Cousins hater in the universe. Like,
oh my God. I am so earlier I made myself giggle because I have an analogy that I'm so excited to throw out there with him.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait because I hate Kirk Cousins more than sports hate Kirk Cousins more than anybody in the world.
He is the single most boring quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like
just the most mid quarterback that gets too much. Just everything about him. Just
you know what? We're okay. We'll
just go to Minnesota.
We'll just go to Minnesota.
I just the fact that he's making $35 million a year for his midness, and he puts up these crazy stats because he pads them all at the end of games, and every single time he is in a big game. He has never failed in a big game to fuck up and shit the bed. Never. Yeah. He's a choke artist. He's just not a big game. He's not a quarterback you're going to win with.
And then say, hey, but Micah, he only had like 5 interceptions last year. Yeah, okay, great. Throw a ball that's like to a not wide open receiver.
I don't know what that stat is. I was going to say, I don't know what that stat is from PFF, but I would love to see his throws into like tight windows, whatever that is called, because he's probably 32nd in the league. It's ridiculous. He doesn't take any chances.
Go 33rd because they would probably have Jamison Williams and Taysom Hill in there. So we'll go 33rd.
Yeah, like I don't think that they can. I don't think when the chips get pushed in, that he is the guy to be able to do this for them. And that's a shame because if they traded for Russell Wilson, I would pick them to win the division.
I might pick them to win the Super Bowl.
Honestly, for years this team has been stacked everywhere on the roster. And last year, a down year for the Vikings. They were 8-9. Like
that's a down year.
Teams would kill for 8-9 half the time. Like they are, and this team is still there. They got Lewis Sine, who was another potential Bills pick, and Andrew Booth, both guys that we were talking about to help that secondary, which is really where they needed help.
Yeah.
Free agency. Let's see. I gotta get to them here. Obviously they got Kirk Cousins his 1-year extension into this year. They signed Zadarius Smith. That's and Harrison Phillips, our boy. Obviously, shout out Harry. Patrick Peterson in there. So they really reloaded.
I have concerns about him though that I'll get to later. But
there are, but definitely. Mm-hmm. But so they loaded up defensively this year, both in free agency and the draft. We know how potent this offense could be. They have 2 of the best star players on the offensive side of the ball when you're talking about Dalvin Cook and 3 and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Like any team would kill for that skill group. So they added the talent and everything. It's literally just Cousins. Like, can you win big games against Aaron Rodgers on the road? That's all you need to do, and you could maybe be hosting the NFC Championship. This team has that kind of talent.
They really do, and Kirk Cousins is literally, as I thought of earlier, the vanilla ice cream of the NFL. Like you literally only if someone offers you vanilla ice cream, you'll be like, well, I'd be an idiot to turn down vanilla ice cream. Like, it's vanilla ice cream. It's free. I'll take it. But it's literally just a vehicle for all of the toppings.
It's like the Chevetta
fudge. You're gonna need
like the Chevettas.
Sprinkles. Yeah.
When you get the dessert and you're like, oh my god, what is it? And it's the little vanilla ice cream cup. You're like, I would like the cookie maybe.
And you're eating it with like the little wooden spoon, where the wooden spoon is more satisfying than the actual ice cream. You got like the hot fudge, and you got the cherry, and you got the sprinkles, which are Thielen, Cook, and Jefferson. And then it's just like, Kirk is just the vehicle for you to be able to actually get to that stuff.
That's amazing.
It's awful. Thank you. It's terrible.
And that is like I don't even remember. I wasn't even looking at this because I didn't even need to look at our notes because I'm just ready for Kirk Cousins takes at all times.
I'm ready for the entire Vikings thing to be all about Kirk Cousins and how much he sucks.
Oh my god! Well, no, I want to talk about Justin Jefferson because where does he rank for you in like wide receivers in the league at this point? Because I feel like he, even as we're talking shit about Kirk Cousins, this man could be a top 2 receiver this year, like among all NFL fans by the end of this year. The way he showed out his first 2 years.
In all honesty, my top 3 are probably Devontae Adams 1, and maybe Justin Jefferson 2. Honestly, like Cooper Kupp 3. If you give me any order for those, as long honestly, like Hill, Jefferson, Diggs, Chase.
Listen to these first 2 seasons for anybody. 1,400 yards in his rookie season, 7 touchdowns, 88 receptions. He got targeted 125 times. He only started 14 games that year. So then we bump it up to our 17-game season. What does he follow it up with? 1,616 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 108 receptions. Those are his first 2 years. Remember when wide receivers didn't play well in their first couple of years?
Yeah, and it's
that, bro. Oh my god.
Literally, he just has like older Mac Jones throwing to him. Whereas if he has literally any other, he could have Jared Goff, and he would probably have better numbers.
Yeah. What about isn't it? Do you ever think about the alternate universe where the Bills just keep their pick and pick Justin Jefferson, and he's that good? Because he would have been that good here. I mean, he would have fit perfectly in. Like Diggs is fit perfectly in. Like I think he would have been seamless to it too. Do you ever think about that? Because there's no hate on Diggs. Like I love Stephon Diggs.
No, none whatsoever.
With all my heart. But
I think Josh might have needed. I think Diggs was good at grounding Josh a little bit.
That's true.
I think
an older guy who's been there a little long and been through
and played with much worse quarterback play, like Jefferson. It doesn't stop.
Well, fuck you, Kirk. And that's also our backup, Case Keenum, who we're talking about. So no disrespect, Case, but
no disrespect to Case whatsoever.
Case was the one who threw him the Minneapolis.
Oh, speaking of Case, we are sponsored by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case. I did not say that at the beginning of the show. Thank you for throwing that up there, Mike. I was just scrolling up. But yeah, no, I think I understand why they would rather bring in a veteran receiver, especially after seeing the effect that Brown and Beasley had coming in here. I think maybe Justin Jefferson could have been just a little more impatient than Diggs, but I have nothing to base that on. That's purely speculation. Like if we drafted him and kept,
but he is playing with Kirk Cousins and putting up 1,400 yards.
That is true. He is. Oh, good Lord.
So I feel like Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's. I love Diggs. Like Diggs was a guy that. I was never a draft expert, but when I was younger, I used to be more into the draft. And I think it's mostly because I was in like high school, and whenever I was near a computer, I would just, go to sports sites instead of doing work. Yeah. So I was more into the draft just because that's what I was trying to kill time with. But when Diggs was coming out, I just vividly remember one game watching Maryland and watching him just go crazy and just being like, that's a dude who's in the stories they're telling about him and stuff. And you're listening to it. And like, that's how you gather information about some of these college guys. He was just a guy that I was behind. I was so shocked when he was a 5th round pick coming out. Cause I was like, when you're young, you don't understand value in college football. How the fuck that dude was like just killing every team he played against.
Every single team. Yeah.
So it's no, obviously like I would take Stephon Diggs every day of the week. It was an amazing moment, but Justin Jefferson, it's just crazy to see how I've never seen a trade in all of sports work out so well for both teams. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. We spent 10.
Wake, you froze. Are you still there? I think we lost Wake for a second here. I'm at a problem solving time. He did just move. So, sometimes the Wi-Fi. Are you back?
Oh my God. Okay, so I didn't have Wi-Fi for the first 2 days. They gave me the wrong Wi-Fi password. They gave me the password for the apartment above me.
That's so ridiculous.
And so I won't shit on them because like this place is actually like it's pretty nice. Like I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah.
But the Wi-Fi has been absolute dog water. But who I don't think will be complete dog water is Harrison Phillips. What does concern me is the fact that they seem to be wanting to put him at defensive end.
Oh, what? Oh no.
Because they play a 3-4. And so
I don't know. I don't think he's a good
nose tackle.
I don't think he's a good. I don't think he's a right build or right skill set.
No, he's not.
He's not big enough. He's not big enough, and he's not quick enough to be effective there.
Exactly. He's agile enough to get interior pressure, which is what we saw when he drastically improved over last season. In fact, I had one.
I would hope if that's the case, they're putting him next to Za'Darius Smith, so he will. He's not going to get stats this year, and he's just going to be. I'm going to try to take up as much energy as I can from this side of the line, so you can get around it. That's the only way it makes any sense because he's good at that. He's like that was the great thing about him next to Ed Oliver was like he's such a hassle to deal with. Even if he's not going to make impact plays, he just puts pressure on the interior of the line. So I can see that, but
no. There was an article on SB Nation on their Daily Norseman, which is what the fuck is their I guess is their Viking site, and the article entitled "Harrison Phillips is already the most Vikings underappreciated player," And I'm pretty sure they just read athletic articles from Bills reporters, said how underappreciated he was here, and just copy paste. But last year his win share, the first stat they really referenced, doubled from 0.38 to 0.77 after week 9.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's
he
true.
He turned it on, and we all saw it happen last year with him in a Bills uniform.
I will say this is one of my favorite things in sports to watch. It is the contract year balling out, and he got paid now.
He did.
I mean, and he balled out at the end of last year. That's just. I'm not saying that he's not gonna be able to do it again, but I've seen it too many times. Too many times.
Yeah, and they came on the interior, so we'll see how it goes moving to the outside. Of course, obviously the 3-4, he'll have some linebackers on the outside of him probably 80% of the time. But moving to, I guess, the Detroit Lions, who we almost started talking about before.
I can't wait for the Detroit.
Talk to me about what they did this offseason.
The Detroit Lions this offseason, I don't think that they were really that busy. The offensive side of the ball, DJ Chark 1 year, $10 million. We'll see what happens there. Josh Reynolds also there. I've always liked Josh Reynolds when he was in Los Angeles there. They've added a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball, but it's mostly like depth deals there in free agency. In the draft, they made out bandits. They made out bandits. I mean, that's really what it is. Aiden Hutchinson, number 2 overall. We knew that he was going there no matter what. Michigan boy through and through. Jamison Williams, he didn't look too happy to be going to Detroit, but
he did not.
Literally the perfect receiver to put with Jared Goff, I think, to maximize his talents. Joshua Pascal, a steal there, I think, for them on the D-line there from Kentucky in the second round. They added safety Kirby Joseph from Illinois, and then added some edge talent, a tight end, James Mitchell from Virginia Tech. But really the story of that draft is the first round, Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams, 2 impact players bringing top-tier skill to a roster that desperately needed top-tier skill. And Aiden Hutchinson making the life much easier for Jeff Okudah in that secondary, who's struggled, but I think a lot of their struggles has had to do with it. This team has been depth of talent on the defensive side of the ball for a long time. The offensive side of the ball has never been an issue.
Yeah,
when do you remember the defense? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying Okudah's been hurt for his first 2 years in the league, basically straight. Like he played 1 game last year. He only has 10 games played in 2 years for a 3rd overall pick. I mean that's
disappointing.
Disappointing to say the very least.
It's disappointing. But I don't think like the last 10 years of Lions football when they had Matt Stafford, the biggest thing was always their offense. I've never in my life known the Detroit Lions. I mean, I've never known in my life the Detroit Lions to be good at football, for one thing.
Yes.
But the second thing is never known them to be good at defense. That if they were ever competitive, it was offensively. And we know Dan Campbell wants to be a force defensively. They want to be physical. I mean, I could talk about Dan Campbell for years.
All day.
I love that guy. But I really feel like this team has a good base of talent as like a team that's going to be a scrappy bad team, like can get to 5-12, 6-11, but be in a lot of games with good teams late. And Goff is a good quarterback. A lot of teams
they're excited about him right now. They're excited
second
about
year, just adding Jamison Williams and that's not even. I don't even want to undersell Chark and Reynolds as guys that can be second receiver and third receivers under Williams too. And DeAndre Swift is just a weapon, bro. He is
an
untapped potential.
And even Jamal Williams, who's an RB2, is good. TJ
Hawkinson has a lot of talent and a lot of potential at the tight end position as well.
Yeah, I mean, before like an hour ago, I was trying to look at because like they're really hyping up Jared Goff right now. They're saying like he's throwing missiles in practice, he's accurate, blah 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 blah. Everything. That if you're not hearing it right now, that's when you have a problem. If you are hearing it, wait to have a problem. That's how that goes.
Exactly.
But I was thinking like, okay, let's say, okay, maybe Jared Goff still has some MVP-ish caliber-ish kind of play in his arsenal. The weapons that he has right now are not. You cannot say they are worse than what he had in LA when they went 13-3. Todd Gurley, swap out for DeAndre Swift. honestly, I know it's crazy to say, but that's not that far of a drop off.
It's close.
Jamal Williams, better than Malcolm Brown as an RB2. Way better than Malcolm Brown as an RB2. Then, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, top 5 young receiver in the NFL.
He's incredible.
So, say he's probably, if he takes a step forward, I anticipate he will. Equivalent-ish to Robert Woods that year, maybe. Maybe closer comp-wise to Brandon Cooks, who was also on that team. DJ Chark produced in a terrible situation in Jacksonville with fucking Blake Bortles.
His big thing is being healthy too. I mean, he's had health issues as well. It's not the talent at all.
And then a young, amazing route running wide receiver in Cooper Kupp, and now Jamison Williams.
I think J-Mo is going to be a top 10 receiver in the league this year. I really, if he's healthy, I think that kid is the best. He was good. He would have been the slam dunk top 10, top 5 pick if it wasn't for the knee injury coming out of the draft. He was ridiculous this year at Alabama. I mean, Bryce Young's, that's why I'm very interested to see what Bryce Young's stock looks like coming out of this year, because Jamison Williams made him look like a star. And John Mechie too, who I have in dynasty leagues, and I'm very happy about it because I think people are sleeping on Mechie. Dude, we were talking about Mechie, me and my brother, my brother's a big college, we're huge college football, always talk about, and always watching Bama just because it's Alabama, right? Like, you just want to know what's going on with them. Mechie, I almost love Mechie more than Jamison. Like, that the skill is obviously higher with Jamison Williams, but Mechie is like right there. And J-Mo just had it over him a little bit, had the better story because he, transferred from Ohio State and everything else. But those two are just such high-end talents. I think that if Jamison Williams is healthy, and knowing what Jared Goff's strengths are, they just feel like a match made in heaven, honestly.
They do. And then if you add in TJ Hawkinson, who we really haven't talked about at all, going back to comparing this to that team that Jared Goff played so well on, I mean, better than Tyler Higbee, better than Gerald Everett.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jared Goff is really set up to succeed for the first time since, what year was this? 2018.
Yeah.
So I genuinely believe, I think this can be a top 10 offense. I think it has that ceiling to be like a low top 10 offense. And
being in the dome helps too.
Being in the dome helps.
For Goff.
Yep. And if a Dan Campbell defense is going to be just a physical defense that you hate playing against, this team can go above 500. They can.
Adding Hutchinson and Pascal is just it's life changing for that defense.
Yes,
Hutchinson, I think Hutchinson's going to have a weird narrative around him because he's not going to be ever the plus 15 sack guy. He's not going to be ever the top pass rusher in the league, but he's going to be very good for a long time because he has incredible technique and just quick. Wow, that's a hard word to say. Quick twitch muscles, unlike anybody else I've seen at the position. He's a special talent. He's just not gonna. I don't think he has the impact, strength, or speed, but he's just gonna do everything right. And just with what this defense was working with last year, is just gonna be such a boost to what teams are accustomed to dealing with this team. And Pascal is also a monster too. Was a monster for Kentucky. And a very good Kentucky team last year too, who was competitive in the SEC. So I think that I'm a believer, and it's a belief that the Bills believe in too, is that you have to build from the trenches out, and then everything else kind of solves themselves. If you don't have strong trenches, you're basically screwed as an NFL team, and this team believes in that as well, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And, obviously Michael Brocker's long time, just reliable defensive tackle there.
What a career he's made. I mean, he's been everywhere too, but he's always effective everywhere. He's just not good enough to get paid by, a big payday by one team.
He's I had a hockey equivalent. And
who was it? He went to Auburn, right? And that was the year with Fairley there. I'm thinking of the same guy.
No, he went to LSU.
Oh, that's a different guy. Okay. I don't know who I'm thinking of right now. Do you want to get into the Green Bay Packers, who are somehow the least interesting team in this division?
By far the
13-4.
Yes. So if their receivers are shit. I was having trouble finding the words, and I think I articulated it perfectly.
But they signed Sammy Watkins. No love for Sammy Watkins?
So I have no love for Sammy Watkins because when I was trying to get a Bills jersey, I texted my one group chat called Go Bills, and I said, what jersey should I get? And they said, why? Don't you have a Sammy jersey? Because my last name's Watkins. And I said, no, I don't. I don't like the player. I don't want the jersey. And then peer pressure is a hell of a drug. 15 minutes later, I'm walking out with a brand spanking new Sammy Watkins home jersey.
It does make sense, though. It does make sense. I do understand.
I feel like no, it does not make sense because I feel like as a grown man having a jersey with your own last name on it, I feel like I'm walking around with like a Sabretooth jersey. Like,
yeah, but Bills fans know it's Sammy. But Bills fans know it's Sammy at least.
But people think it's Diggs when they look at me from the front, and then I turn to leave, and I just hear a collective,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting the nameplate switched, but like, God,
that's smart. That's a smart play.
And like John, Matt, Joe, Noah, I don't know if you've ever watched this show, but if you are, I can confidently say I love you, but I love you a little less after all of that.
That's fair.
That's all I can say.
That's fair. Yeah, but see, my last name is Micah, and you see that spell, and you've seen the spelling of it. I've never had to worry about that in my life, so I don't know how. I can't relate to it, but I do understand that you don't want to be. I do, and I wasn't even thinking about the Diggs factor. That's a great.
Yeah,
point.
See, if there wasn't a 14 that was so good right now, like if they thought it was like this,
if it was like,
I'd be like, okay, whatever.
That's still even like he's like Sammy is still third place of those three too. Like that's the worst part.
Easy third place. It's not even close. You name another 14, and he's probably fourth place, honestly. But my favorite thing about this team is. Matt LaFleur, because I hate him so much. He's like right up there with Pete Carroll for me.
Wow.
In terms of coaches that
why LaFleur? What do you have against?
Because anytime something goes wrong, he looks like he's just like watching his kid take a shit on a playground, and he's like, this is probably my fault, but I can definitely spin it like it's their fault. So yeah, this doesn't look good. But
there's something about a guy that looks just that kept up. That just and it's the McVay. It was always was like that way with me with McVay, but McVay's earned my respect more over the years. I'm with you there. There's something about LaFleur that just like it rubs me the wrong way of him as a
no good vibes. He does not have. He doesn't pass.
No, there's no good vibes. That team does not feel like they have good vibes.
He also looks like a weasel, kind of, and I don't like.
He does.
Like in 20 years, he could have probably played the villain in Billy Madison, who laughs like. Like if that could be Matt LaFleur in 15 years.
I agree.
But I forgot they drafted Christian Watson, and
I'm not high on that. I'm still not high on that.
Why
so? Did you hear Rodgers' quote the other day?
No.
He said, "I want known quantities, not prospective talent." That's what he said. Who's that a shot at? It's at Romeo Dubes and Christian Watson.
Yeah, and
those dudes ain't playing. Those dudes ain't playing. It's going to be Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard. That's who we're seeing all year.
Yeah, good Lord. And that's the thing. Like, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon can get shit done. Robert Tonyan can get
and LaFleur loves – they're going to be – the thing about the Packers, and it's lost in the narrative about them because Rodgers has been so good and won back-to-back MVPs. But Matt LaFleur basically runs a run-heavy offense. Like that's
and this is why I hate Matt
LaFleur. Like, it's just nuts.
Yeah. If you are running a run-heavy offense with an MVP quarterback, maybe the most talented quarterback to ever play the game, you are just a fucking moron. I'm sorry. Him and Pete Carroll, they're the same person, just like they're the same two small children standing on each other's shoulders in a trench coat. Like that's them.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
It drives me nuts. And when he first went there, I was like, yeah, of course they're going to be good. And he's going to get credit because it's Aaron Rodgers. Like you can't be bad with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to make. He is a genius. And he has every physical tool you need. He's going to make anything work. But no, it's not accentuating his talents. I don't think. And now the fact that I'm worried about what this pass offense is going to look like because I don't care how good Aaron Rodgers is. Devontae Adams, like you said, is top one. That is he is the receiver in the NFL. He is the best receiver in the NFL. The drop off is so huge. It doesn't matter how good Rodgers is. The drop off from Adams to now wide receiver 1, Alan Lazard, is ridiculous. It's like it's a cliff. It's a Grand Canyon dive.
It is a literal Grand Canyon. It's actually. Did you see maybe like 3 weeks ago? Scientists in Asia discovered a massive sinkhole where like a whole new like terrestrial land basically was below the earth, and there's like prehistoric dinosaurs, or maybe not dinosaurs, but prehistoric like plant life down there that like hasn't been seen in thousands of years.
Wow,
that is the size of the cliff that you jump off going from Davante Adams to Alan Lazard.
100%.
And I am about to do so 366, and we got. All right, I'm gonna do some quick math here with my handy dandy calculator. Oh, can you keep doing that? I like that math noise.
That's me clicking calculator. I'm terrible at math, so I'm always on the calculator.
No, that's a great. No, you're a huge math guy. That's a great math noise. Okay, so what do you think Davante Adams' target share was last year?
Target share?
Was
it over 50%?
No, it was not over
50. It was 37 then.
No, 31.8, but like still, that's fucking obnoxious.
Yeah, 30. I was thinking like 30, high 30s would be ridiculous. So that's still ridiculous. 30, you should not be getting the ball 30% of the time. No.
And so he had 169 targets. Do you want to guess who had the next amount of targets, the next highest amount?
I'm going to say it was Alan Lazard, who we were talking about.
Number 3.
With then was it the others? Was it Equiminius St. Brown? No, Valdez Scantling. That's
number 4.
That's what I'm going with. Damn, who the hell did they have? Was it Cobb? Was it Randall Cobb?
Number 5.
Jimmy Graham?
No, he's still on the team.
I don't know.
Aaron
Jones. Oh yeah, the running back. I'm literally naming off every receiver they have. That's ridiculous.
He had 104 less targets than Davante Adams, and he was second on the team.
That's unbelievable. The fact that the running back is the second most targeted guy and the number one, it's a bad mix.
And I don't know if that's on LaFleur for however they're running this offense under him. Or...
I think it's Rodgers being like, I don't have any other receivers, so I'm just going to throw it to this dude.
And so what's he going to do now? Is he going to dump it off to Aaron Jones and Alan Lazard every single play? Like, are they going to combine for 230
But hold on, though. Here's the one thing that I truly do think. I think his ego is just big enough that he's like, you know what? I'm back-to-back MVP. Davante left. I can still do this. I'm going to make this work. I can run whatever offense and we're going to be great. I really think that he can think that he doesn't think there's going to be a drop-off. I really think that he's going to lasts.
That does not. That mentality.
Who do they play week 1?
Ends the season. No, I think he'll start the season with that kind of mentality. But by the Bills game, if not during the Bills game, he will lose it. If he still thinks I can trust these guys, I can get it done, it's not going to happen against us.
So this is their opening schedule for the first 4 games. They go a very fun 4:00 game on opening Sunday at the Vikings, the aforementioned Vikings. Then Sunday Night Football hosting the Chicago Bears. Just chalk that up for a dub. They're not losing in Lambeau to the Bears. Then another 4:00 game at Tom Brady's house in Tampa Bay there.
They're not winning.
And then they host Bill Belichick, Mac Jones, and the New England Patriots. I think they could be 2-2 out of that. And then Rodgers is going to be like,
definitely a world where they're 2-2. Like I'm really not sold that they win this division. I would rather put money on the Lions to win this division.
I think they're in the and dude, no, I put those odds in there thinking that same thing. I was like, honestly, the only bet that is worth making is the Lions. Like I'm not betting the -170. So we didn't even read the division odds. The -170 Packers right now is what it is according to FanDuel. Vikings second +280. That's too high to go on the Vikings. And then both the Lions and Bears are +1100. It's like, fuck it. Just throw it on one of those teams.
I'd throw $10 on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Give me one reason not to.
It's Rodgers is you're just putting a lot of faith in Rodgers if you're thinking that the Packers are going to bounce back and be 13-4 this year. I think they're closer to 10-7, 11-6, and it feels like one of these other teams in the division can be in that range as well. And that's why it's not as a lock for them.
I think there's a world where the winner of this division isn't over 500.
Yeah, I really do. The Packers have been a team that has been win now for a long time.
Yeah.
And losing Adams is just it's astronomical. I don't think that sports media has given enough value to it throughout the summer just because it's Aaron Rodgers and he gets it's worthy respect for sure. But maybe the reason that he's been extended, this far into his career with this great play is because he had the bar none number one receiver in the league on his roster. It seems like that would help. It seems like that would help an old quarterback just a little bit.
Because if you obviously his stats don't show it. There's no way.
There's no drop off really.
There's no drop off, but what I'm saying is there's no stat that shows unless you actually wait. No, let me find his splits because I believe he started a lot of games last year with absolute fucking stinkers in the first half, and then just threw to only Devontae Adams for the second half, and then that was the entire thing. Let's see. Can I get first half, second half, first half, second half, first half, second half, first half, second half? It's not happening. Okay, but I just remember there were. Oh wait, maybe is that it? Is that it? Are you there? I don't know.
I'm here.
I'll figure it out and I'll tweet. I know you're here. But I think we can all say that there have been times over the past few years, maybe 3-4 years, where you're watching Aaron Rodgers play, and you're like, this doesn't seem like the same dude, and then he just hits Devontae Adams 15 times, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's back.
I don't know, man. I just
they're an enigma.
I just have the seeing the 13-4. I don't know what their over under is. I'm pretty sure it's around 11.5 again or 10.5.
I'll hammer that under.
It's just
I'm not even convinced that and we haven't even really talked about this defense, and we'll do it relatively quickly.
Well, they lost their best. They re-signed Jair Alexander, who is one of the top corners in the league, but they lost their best pass rusher, and I think they signed Preston Smith, Devondre Campbell to big deals. I'm not confident that those guys are going to be able to restock right behind there. They picked Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt, both Georgia boys, in the first round, defensive tackle, linebacker. So I guess we'll see. They did add talent on that side of the ball. I think it's hilarious when Packers pick Georgia just because the logo is the same. That's just a little fun thing for me. But yeah, there's no guarantee that this defense is going to be able to revamp again.
Yeah, no, Mina Kimes had them as her number 2 defense this year, and Aaron Schatz from Football Outsiders. And this is not a shot at Mina Kimes. I think she's one of the best in sports media right now. But Aaron Schatz from Football Outsiders replied, and he was like, I'm sorry, but this is probably the worst take you've ever had. DVOA, they were somewhere around 22nd last year.
Yeah, they were very middle of the road last year. I think they were higher in this. They were higher in the total defense stats and shit like that, right? But then just everything else,
Now, that's if you take away Kevin King, who was the single cornerback that was targeted in the fourth quarter for them pretty much every single game last year. Yeah, that's addition by subtraction right there. So that could be better, especially insert Eric Stokes playing over him. Eric Stokes is a damn good young corner. Adrian Amos, Darnell Savage, that's not a bad secondary. But we just haven't really seen them together for one reason or another. And so it's going to be one of those things is I'll see it when I believe it about the Packers actually winning this division. I think it's going to be way closer. And I'm happy that we are going to ride this. The Lions are going to win this division together throughout this entire season.
That's my goal. The Lions fans deserve it. They deserve some good news. They really do. And you know what? With the Browns, the bad karma they've got, I feel like the Great Lakes.
It's got in my brain going west.
In my brain, the Great Lakes can only have maybe one good team and potentially 2, but there's no way all 3 can be good at the same time. It's just never.
Absolutely.
There's no way it's possible in our lifetime that will happen. So the Bills and Lions feels like that should be the 2 teams, and the Browns can go back to their doldrums at this point. No offense to my Northeast Ohio friends, but I think it's pretty valid at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately. Feel bad for the fans, but the organization.
Yeah, we touched on it last week too. That's exactly what we were at. I feel so bad. My friends are just so conflicted, lifelong Browns fans that, whatever. Yeah. It's tough times. But I also never I don't feel as bad because I've never been to a city where I've been barked at by a grown man until I went to Cleveland, Ohio, wearing Bills gear last time. Wow. So that's not an experience I want to live again. Yeah.
What's worse?
The dog pound is very real. They don't joke about the dog pound.
They don't, and I did not know they barked though. Like you cannot joke, but also not bark.
Yeah, and it wasn't like the "here we go brownies" woof woof. Like I love that shit. That's a great chant.
Yeah,
it was just.
Was it a bark or did he go woof?
No. It was like a. I'm not gonna bark on this pod right now, but imagine like a dog like actually barking. He was doing that. He was. I remember it vividly. He was standing on the top of his pickup truck and looked down at me and started like barking, and I'm like, okay. I don't know what you do to that. I just walked away. I was like, I would
much rather jump through tables and donate to Andy Dalton's charity than just bark at grown adults.
Yeah. Luckily nobody else barked at me. Someone did try to fight me over Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and it wasn't my choice. He just decided to keep going. That was also that was just not a good day. I was in a bar full of Cleveland Browns fans, like packed shoulder to shoulder as Steven Hauschka, missed his kick, and I'm in Zubaz, and that's just you don't want to be in that position. That's self-explanatory. Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. My friend has a great video. My friend has a great video. I was literally in the corner of the bar, and he's taking a video, and he wanted to get me sad in there, and I'm just buried into my phone because I'm like, the last thing I want to do is like make eye contact with any Browns fan right now and have them just be like, yeah, pussy, like, yeah, you did, like, because it was all day. It was all day, and it was a horrible game. I will say, you know what? They can have that win. We stopped them 8 times in a row from goal to goal situations, and I'll remember that more than the loss. Because that was the greatest moment of my life. Just every time they're like, "Oh, we're gonna score right here." It's like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah,
and then
I'm sure you
didn't. Oh, God. That's probably why they lost. It was probably the karma after that, to be honest.
How many times we got to teach you this lesson, old man, is what happened on that day.
Freddie Kitchens was the gift that kept on giving for me living in Northeast Ohio while he was head coach of the Browns. It was pure comedy every single week. Wherever we were. It was just great.
Oh, for sure. I believe it. Well, I'm just happy we don't have any offensive coordinators, coaches that we can hate right now. Looks pretty damn good as a Bills fan, and according to both of us, it's going to be pretty damn good against the NFC North. But I'm sure some people feel differently. If you guys were listening and you think maybe we're taking one of these teams a little too lightly, definitely let us know. Tweet at us, at Wake Jotkins, at your friend _ Jake.
We did a lot of hating. We did a lot of hating on the Packers here, so I wouldn't be surprised about that.
We are going to cut this up and we're going to have so many good. I'm just going to start tagging Packers. Oh man, I'm going to have fun this weekend on Twitter. Oh man,
just roasting the Packers.
Oh my God,
whatever. Have fun with your 10-7 year with your no wide receivers.
Yeah, have fun not winning a playoff.
But they'll win the division. I honestly think if you gave me like push comes to shove, I'm picking. Packers 10-7, Vikings 9-8, the Lions 7-10, and the Bears unfortunately still at 6-11, but they feel better about it.
That's probably the right prediction. I'm not actually no. That's the exact right prediction. But I am.
You want the Lions. You want the Lions to be 11-6 and just win the division. I know you do.
I was just going to say 9-8 and win the division, but you know what? Let's go for pure chaos. Chaos.
The thing about them too is if they are actually extremely improved, they get that last. I'm not looking at their schedule right now, but they get that last place schedule against everybody, which is always a benefit. Always a benefit to have the last place schedule. And that was the thing I was thinking about with the Bears too, looking at their schedule. We were talking about them earlier because I was like, damn, they got like if things click for both of those teams, and they're I think no matter how much improvement they are, we think that they've raised their floor both this year. It could work out. The NFC sucks. That's also like the thing we haven't said yet is that it's
the whole conference.
Anybody could get in on that 7 seed. Like that 7 seed could be 7-10 this year for all. It's a bad division. It's a bad conference, especially compared to the quarterback talent and just overall talent that we have in the AFC. Yeah. So that's another thing that's underlying with this division is they could get 3 teams in just because they're competent, not because they're good.
Yeah, I've been waiting for one thing. I'm really, really hoping for someday is a whole division to make the playoffs because it can now actually happen.
Me too. Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
But in the NFC, like it just can't happen this year, even with how bad everybody is. Like, there's no division that is head and shoulders above the rest.
You don't think the AFC West is doing that this year, though? Because I've seen a lot of people talking about the AFC West, and I just think the North is too good.
I think the North is too good. I think that when you have 4 teams that all, if there was a realignment, could all go 12-5. There's going to be the Bills lost every 1-score game last year. There's going to be one team like that in that division who ends up going 7-10 for no goddamn good reason.
Yeah, I hope it's Kansas City, but
me too.
I think there's more of it. That's another discussion for another day. But I've got Andy Reid slander that is that worries me about the Kansas City Chiefs this year. With their one weapon gone and one weapon now turning 33, 34. I don't know. Things catch up at some point, but we don't have to
figure out a way to make that a talking point for next week's episode. And we'll make a whole show out of it. Maybe not just that, but we'll come up with a way to describe that take of yours, and we will all come with these.
Well, the best way to describe it is I just think Andy Reid is just a teeny bit overrated now. Just a teeny bit overrated. I got in a little spat the other day, so I have a lot of fair takes about Andy Reid that I could come back with at any time. It'll be a larger discussion on this podcast throughout the season as the Chiefs.
So, okay, how about next week we do we'll probably keep going with the opponents because we have a few more to go through. But after all that, we'll do our all overrated teams, and we'll have head coach, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end.
Oh yeah, Andy might be number 1 there for me at head coach.
We're planning episodes 3 weeks in advance, and we usually don't even know what we're doing next week. Things are going in the right direction here on the Crowd Assist podcast, and we are sponsored by Outlet Liquor. This show is our outlet. Outlet Liquor can be yours. Go get them. Go to them There was a rumor on Facebook that someone drove into the store, and I was heartbroken.
Yes.
And no one drove into the store, you Lancaster Facebook fuckheads, but happy to see that Outlet Liquor is still going strong. Definitely go to them, whether it's wine, spirits, Loganberry seltzers. They definitely have it all. In summer in Buffalo, you have to cram stuff into every single weekend. I know everybody has a party to go to every single weekend. So go to Outlet Liquor, stock up, buy a case, save, and you can still get hammered or tipsy. Drive responsibly at every party you go to this summer. But that will do it for us here on the Crowd Assist podcast. Wake, Micah, our friend Meerkat, who he said he was going to be breaking some news for work, and I didn't see anything. But
not yet.
Not yet. Well, keep an eye on Meerkat's Twitter because he's going to be having some fun tonight. But for all of us, Outlet Liquor and Trainwreck Sports, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you